Legion, probably one of the most controversial parts of Titanfall 2 because of his core ability and just the general craziness of his kit. Let's take a look at him and see just how good this Titan really is. So this is the first time I've ever used Legion in this clip that you're watching right now, so I don't even have a dash equipped on the Titan, so I'm not using a dash whatsoever. Instead of that, I have an extended magazines Titan kit, which gives me 140 rounds in mag instead of 100. The ability you just saw me use was the Ordnance ability for Legion. So basically what it does is you need to have at least 1 round in magazine, and it uses exactly 1 round from your magazine. It spins it up and then shoots it out at high velocity, dealing high damage to a single target. It's not hit scan, you have to lead your shot with it. It's slower than a 40 mil. So you have to really learn the timing of using this shot, because it's one of the slower projectiles. It might be like the slowest individual Titan projectile, or at least close to it anyways. So you saw me earlier switch modes between the close range and long range modes. The close range mode has a round reticule, and the long range mode has the cross. When you are in a long range mode, for every bullet you fire, 2 ammo is consumed instead of 1. So this is to make it so that you don't always sit in long range mode 100% of the time if you're a player with good aim. So what this does is it gives a reason for you to use the close range mode, because you use half as much ammo. Now your DPS between both modes is identical. Your damage per bullet does not change, but you effectively have half the magazine size when using the long range version. So very important to note. It is a very important balancing factor, a very good balancing factor for Legion. And by the way, I have to note, like, if you guys haven't been paying attention, this little fight between GameSager and I for the past couple of minutes, it was absolutely fantastic. Like, he and I were talking about this one fight like all day long, between his tone and my Legion, like how we were out positioning and out maneuvering each other, and like just kind of realizing that we were both such of a threat to each other that it almost didn't make sense for either of us to commit until, like, right around this point here. This is the point where I really should have used my smart core, by the way, but I was so tunnel visioned on just shooting Drew and, like, normally that I didn't. But we'll talk more about the core ability later. But this was an absolutely fantastic fight that you guys should pay a little bit more close attention to, even if it was it wasn't perfect. But anyways, so gun shield. Let's talk about gun shield. It's pretty much what you would think. So it just brings up a big shield from the gun, and it's attached to the gun. So when you're like reloading, you may not be protecting yourself. So you'll note, if you watch very closely, that whenever I do reload my weapon, I do try to aim down and to the left from whoever is shooting at me, so that way my shield is still pointed at them, and there is no break in the coverage of the shield for the most part. May even make sense to crouch, because then it's like a riot shield, and you'll have even more cover for yourself. It absorbs actually quite a lot of damage, and you can choose a Titan kit that enables you to absorb double the damage with that shield. Now, not once did I have somebody actually break that shield through just shooting at it, so I never found a real use for using that Titan kit. However, once people play the game more and realize how frail a lot of the shield mechanics are, like the gun shield or Tone's particle wall, they don't absorb that much damage. Like if you're in a one-on-one situation, you generally don't want to waste the ammo to try and like power through it. But if you have 2 Titans versus the guy that's behind a shield, then it makes a lot of sense for you to just power through it and continue firing, because it's not like your magazine is going to be empty like it would if you were doing it by yourself. You might have wondered there, what was happening, why it wasn't shooting at Josh. It's not because I love Josh and I just want to see him live, very much so the opposite. But the idea there is that in this build of the game, executions are still invincible. That's not going to be the case in the final release of the game, but in the build that we played, they were still invincible. So that was just me just kind of waiting and being annoyed at that fact. But don't worry, the final game will not work that way. You will be vulnerable while executing. Not completely vulnerable, but you will be vulnerable. So last little thoughts and feedbacks. I guess I didn't really talk about Smart Core a lot, so let's just do that. Yeah, it's really good for killing pilots, I guess, if you happen to catch anyone in your sights. But the more important usage of it, in my opinion, and by the way, this thing charges so fast. Like, I didn't even realize how fast it was charging. I should have been using it way, way, way more than I was. But the best use of it is that it gives you infinite ammo while it's activated, so you can just shoot forever. So you'll note that, well, actually no, you won't note that in the clips I'm showing you here, but I might post some more gameplay later on where I kind of realize that and start to use it a little bit more. It's actually in this LTS match that you're watching right now. So infinite ammo while you pop the core, really, really important to Legion. Try to time it with your gun shield and just walk out and just murder people. You just walk them down and they can't do anything about it. You might as well be in the long range version of Legion whenever you're popping that core ability, so that way if they're outside of the smart core's lock-on range, you can still accurately shoot at them and you're not just boned by using the close range version. There's not really any benefit to using the close range version of the minigun while you are using smart core. So just keep that in mind. Like if you're going to pop smart core, try to be in long range. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next Titan video. Take care. Hopefully you enjoyed that execution at the end. Peace.